There was an Aqua Teen Hunger Force video game? Yes, surprisingly. And it's just as weird as the show itself is. Aqua Teen Hunger Force is a great Adult Swim program that could and should be enjoyed with some Earth-grown enlightenment. And over the years, it has always come back after seemingly ending. But one thing they did at one point was make a video game, and it is both something you wouldn't expect when thinking about a game for a show like this, and also kind of on brand for a show like this. So today, we're going to take a look at the golfing, racing, beat-em-up combination of a game, Aqua Teen Hunger Force Zombie Ninja Pro-Am. Yes, that really is the title.
Welcome back to the 25 Days of Fringe-miss, where there's going to be brand-
Wait. Double Fringe-miss.
Aw, you only thought you were gonna get 25 videos this year? Look at you. You look silly. But I'm here to fix that because I'm going to give you not only 25 videos, but I'm giving you 50 videos. I have 2 channels. That's 2 Fringe misses. Each day there'll be a brand new video on both channels for 25 days. I haven't slept in months. Enjoy the content. Or don't.
The best way to describe this game is that it's technically a golf game featuring your typical golfing game mechanics, but you also traverse the courses, fighting enemies and sometimes getting into golf cart races. The game released on the PlayStation 2 in November of 2007, and it set out to capture the magic of the show. And by that I mean specifically the look and feel of it, as well as the writing. It honestly feels like it's just another episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force that has bits of the episodes play out in between the gameplay. So right off the bat, if you love the series, you'll probably enjoy the story that the game has to offer. This is definitely thanks to the creators of the show itself coming in to write the story bits here, Matt Malero and Dave Willis. It helps build that layer of authenticity along with having the voice actors of the show, with a good bit of them already being voiced by the creators anyway, really nailing what they needed to go for to make this game feel like it has some value to it. Because outside of the story, enjoying the cutscenes and taking in the look of it, the game is surely unique for the premise, but definitely not a solid build game that could stand on its own without the property attachment. Throughout the game, you will be teeing off initially before running around the open course, fighting enemies that pop up for you to deal with, as you can find items for your health, combat, and even some collectibles. And as you proceed through the course and make your way to the green, you are then greeted with a boss fight before you finish the hole. When it comes to the racing, you just drive your golf cart through the course, hitting checkpoints and collecting speed boosts and getting bazookas to shoot at your opponents. But what I will give extra respect to is that since this is still a golfing game at heart, they had ESPN sportscaster Scott Van Pelt to add in golfing commentary, which is pretty great and a funnier gag if you know that the commentator is actually a real person who does this for real in general. Along with him is a character from the show, Cybernetic Ghost of Christmas Past from the future, that banters in a commentative format as well. But other than that, what's the plot here? Well, there really isn't one, at least nothing special. It really just sets up the circumstances of why you're golfing in the first place. Frylock receives some mail with a letter of acceptance into the Jersey Pines golf course as the others get brought along as guests. But luckily, there are cooler levels that aren't just at the Jersey Pines course, by the nature of the show, taking you to the moon, a colorful candy land, and even hell. So there's some visual variety, but it's really just a story about Master Shake's character always acting better and smarter than the others to impress them, even though he's clearly not. Ending with you on top, funny enough, but then he gets killed by Ultra Mega Chicken, ending the game as he's lowered into the grave. Like I said, it really is an Aqua Teen Hunger Force video game.
Welcome to the Aqua Teen video game.
Available now. Rated mature.
When it comes to the golfing, it's pretty basic and really relies on you being dead on accurate. The golf meter itself doesn't matter all that much. It's seemingly there to be a mimic of other golf game mechanics, and the different clubs don't matter aside from putting at the end. And the rest of the time, you're just endlessly mashing the attack button to deal with all the enemies, and it's not only repetitive, but it all feels like padding to make this game longer than it is. And even then, it's still a short experience. I do give it credit for making a combination idea like this a thing that just exists, but at this point, I would rather they have focused on one thing or another. If you want to make a golf game, go fully into that and keep all of the fun writing that you'd find in the show. If you want to make a hack and slash beat 'em up style game, lean more into the execution of player movement, attack combinations, and item differences that actually, make a difference. I'm not picking on the game though for being something that it's not, as it isn't just trying to mainly be one thing or another. But what we have here feels more like a challenge of battling the controls and dragging yourself through a level just to get to the next cutscene and enjoy that. With the kart racing aspect, it has its own fair share of issues, and while it feels fine to control, it's pretty boring, as nothing you do in the races over the set 3 laps will make a difference. You can get all the speed boosts and rockets to shoot that you want, but the AI has a rubber banding effect to it that keeps them at pace pace with you the whole time. Visually, it looks pretty great for the PS2, regardless of the PS3 already being out. I think all the characters transitioned well into a 3D space, and the courses themselves can look pretty well done, minus a lot of the textures in the world. I just think that maybe something else could have been done with this property that could still also respect and feel like the show, while also being a game that can be considered pretty decent. Even keeping it weird, it doesn't have to just be one type of game. But what this is doesn't have one part to it that feels fleshed out enough. Just bits of ideas cobbled together to make something at the end of the day.
This Double Fringe Miss is brought to you by Gamer Subs.
I hope you're doing well, feeling nice, because we're celebrating Year of the Rabbit with Gamer Subs. Starting today for a limited time while supplies last, the newest Waifu Shaker Cup is here to celebrate that. And also it's free with the purchase of select tubs of Gamer Subs. And that's a great deal, so go ahead and grab yourself one by heading down to the link below. In the description, you can use my code FRINGE for 10% off. You're welcome, Kyle. And you'll be helping out the channel a ton. As far as extras, there are 4 episodes of the show that are on the disc, which is pretty cool, and I feel that this was done to make it have a little bit more of a value than there was, but the coolest part was that there was a completely new episode of the show called Robots Everywhere that was included, but it was only exclusive for a little over 2 months, as it would become the 2nd episode of the 5th season that premiered on Adult Swim in January of 2008. There is artwork to take a look at the making of the game, which is just a cool thing, but pretty standard to see, especially for this era of video games. This was basically in every game as a bonus. There's the Brood Witch extra that unlocks from finding all of the Brood Witches in the game, and what you get is a really poorly animated yet still entertaining short that has a battle between all that is good and bad in the world of sandwiches. It's surely something to experience. If you are a fan of the show itself, you'll love playing through the game just to see all the references that are stuffed in there, with so many characters, items, and small little details to relate back to the seasons of the show that had come out before the game. You just won't love it for the gameplay. While some of these are just fanfare for the heck of it, there is usually a clever reason why they are put into the game, and how some of them are used to make it feel more thoughtful as to why it's in the game in the first place. Honestly, this type of stuff can be hit or miss in a game, but here I'd say it's really well done and you feel the love from the creators of the show, and those who worked on the game trying to pack it in with as much stuff as they can for fans to get a kick out of. It's also one of the funniest games out there thanks to the writing like I mentioned earlier. It doesn't miss a beat trying to be at the same level the show was at, and with how lackluster or janky the gameplay can be, the humor and feeling of the show had to be perfect to try and offset that. It's definitely not a game that will have you craving more of it to play, but it will always remind you of why you enjoyed the show and keep you happy as a fan that you at least got to experience what feels like a full-on, well-written and entertaining episode of the show. If you can't get past the gameplay of it, or if it's just not for you, then go ahead and just watch the cutscenes. It would still be definitely worth it. Again, it's not a great game, and the reviews at the time for it were pretty low thanks to it not offering a great experience gameplay-wise. Even if the game is meant to have this strung together feeling to it, similar to how the show in general is made thanks to the budgetary constrictions and because it's just funny, doesn't mean it's any less of a bad game at the end of the day, which is what GameSpot basically said when they reviewed the game. And yeah, that's fair. A bad game is still a bad game, even if it was meant to not be so great in the first place. It's extremely short as well. You can complete the story and extras in it within 3 or 4 hours, and even with having multiplayer to play some golfing with your friends, there were better mechanically designed golfing games out, both realistic and cartoony, that would be worth your time more so than this would be. So there really isn't a whole lot here that I'd say you should go and check out. If you're a big fan of the show and haven't seen the cutscenes and story here in the game, you for sure should do that. But as far as seeking this one out to play, I can't personally recommend it as something fun to play, or even it's so bad you gotta see it for yourself type of thing. But you tell me yourself, did you ever play this game? And if so, what were your thoughts on it? Are you in a similar boat with me and how I feel about it, or did you enjoy what the game had to offer? Let me know in the comments. I've been Jordan Fringe. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Later.